Hey guys, what's going on? This is Tanner from TanmanBaseballFan.com and perhaps Tanman Comic Fan. I don't know, you be the judge here. I did want to show a few things I picked up in the mail today, which I'm really excited about. They didn't all come in the mail today, probably over the past week or so, and this is actually due to a lot of research I've been doing for the past couple weeks on what to get. So, before I show you, I want to walk you through a little bit of my life in comic books, which is actually pretty short-lived. When I was a teenager, as probably many of you out there have done, I picked up a few books. I remember Spider-Man 2099, The Punisher, Venom, Carnage, X-Men. I loved all those guys. I'm not sure if I actually even cracked open one to read, but I really loved the cover art on a lot of those. I mean, I was just a big fan of them. And superheroes in general. Who doesn't like superheroes, right? So after a while, what I did was, just like baseball card collecting, I didn't pick up any more when I got later on into my teens. So as an adult, I came back to the hobby of baseball cards, as you know, I'm sure, buying and selling collections and becoming the pseudo dealer and buying and selling 10 million cards. And at some point down the road, every now and then, I would run into these comic book collections. Sometimes the comic book collections would be 2,000 of them. Sometimes there would be 20,000 of them. 20,000, by the way, let me tell you something, guys. Like, there's a massive difference between 20,000 baseball cards, which is probably 4 monster boxes like this. They could probably fit on my desk, right? 20,000 comic books, they fill up my entire garage. They are massive together. And so there are some similarities. So some of the newer comics, like I believe it's called the Copper Age, some of them in the 80s and 90s, just like baseball cards, they were mass produced. So a lot of them really aren't worth much. So there are some books I would always try to run into whenever I buy these collections, and never had any luck finding any of them at all. But anyways, one of them that I always remembered, there are a couple people that come by to the house here to pick up the collections whenever I sold them. Which, by the way, that 20,000 comic collection, some guy ended up hiring an 18-wheeler with 3 loaders to come in and pick them up from the garage, which is pretty fun to see. But I have pictures on my website somewhere. If you want to search comic or something, it's probably in there somewhere. But anyhow, a couple people, they would ask about a couple comics in particular, and I'll show them. This first one, at least here, is they would always ask if I had Deadpool. I had no idea who Deadpool was. I mean, this is before the movies. I just was like, Deadpool? What are you talking about? And so they say, oh yeah, he's a guy that is pretty quirky and kind of has a Spider-Man look to him. And I never heard the guy before. And so, but then we watched the movies. There's actually a really great series or a great service called VidAngel, as well as ClearPlay. And whenever you watch movies like Deadpool, which, by the way, not family movies, I don't recommend watching them with your family unless you have ClearPlay or VidAngel, which they're filtering services, so you can get rid of all the nudity, all the sex, all of the swear words, that sort of thing. So it makes it clean for the most part to be able to watch. And so we were able to see that, and we just became big fans of Deadpool. And now if we watched the rated R version of it, we probably wouldn't be that big of a fan of his. But anyway, so the first one I want to show is this here. It is The New Mutants, number 98, and it is from February of 1991. So this is a long time ago, guys. It's don't think of it necessarily as 1991 tops, but yeah, the big deal with this book is right in the middle there. That's Deadpool. This is his first appearance, and it's graded at 9.6. Which, by the way, guys, if you're familiar with grading like PSA and BGS for baseball cards, CGC is basically like the PSA or BGS of comic books. So it's thick. It's very nice. It presents very well. Presents these books very well. So, anyways, this is the first ever appearance of Deadpool, and this is all the way back in 1991, many moons before the movie. So, that's the first one I want to show up. The next one here, my family in general is just we're just big fans of X-Men, and so one of these books here that I'm going to show you is is really probably mostly driven for investment purposes, and all these are. I mean, I've been researching a lot of them. The important thing, obviously, for me was buying them at the right price, to make sure that I can make a little money on them down the road whenever I sell them. But anyway, so this is a very key issue. This is X-Men, giant size X-Men #1. It's 6.5 grading. It displays very well. It's a very, very nice book. It's got a great cover, great coloring. It's also the first appearance of the new X-Men, Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Thunderbird. And it's also the second full appearance of Wolverine, who's one of our favorites. So I know Disney, I believe, bought out Fox or something like that. So, man, that would be so cool to bring in some of the X-Men and in some of the Avengers movies or something like that. That would be awesome if they do that. So this next book here is something that I've heard a lot of stories about in the past. And always, whenever I would tell people that I would buy or that I just picked up a massive comic book collection, they say, there's this new television show that just came out, and if you have any of these comic books at all, take them out because they're going to be worth a lot. And so, it's like, oh, okay, that's great. And I never found any of them, unfortunately, but it always stuck with me in my head just how cool it would be to have any type of comic of this. So the show that I'm talking about is The Walking Dead, and I ended up liking that show quite a bit. And so I picked up Walking Dead #1, and it is a CGC graded 9.2. Beautiful book. I mean, it's a holy grail book, and it's one of those things that you don't just run into. You know what I mean? It's something that you have to intentionally pick up. It's pretty hard to find because I don't think they made a whole lot of them. I never found them in the thousands and thousands of comic books that I ever had in my hands. But it says first appearance of Rick Grimes, Morgan, and Dwayne Jones. Dwayne Jones is my dad's name, so he passed away a few months ago, about 5 months ago. But anyway, so it was neat to see his name there. I don't think I've ever seen his name, anybody spell his name like that, like my dad does. So it's kind of cool to see as well. But anyway, so there it is, Walking Dead #1. I've always wanted this. Such a super, super cool book. It's actually, the market's kind of down on it right now just because, I guess there's not that many people that are liking the this latest season or whatever, so I think now is a great time to buy. And last but not least, this one comes with a story, and it's my favorite one that I picked up. And it's actually the first one that I picked up as well. So I'm going to tell a little story about it. Back in, I believe, about 2012 or so, I think it was about 7 years ago, there was a show called Collection Obsession, and they featured this guy who was about to get married, but his fiance said, guys, I need some help. My fiance's got like tons and tons of comic books, and in our house I can't walk anywhere without tripping over these stupid things. And it was really funny to watch. I love those shows. As a matter of fact, I thought that I might be on one of those shows at some point as well. But anyway, so it was fun to watch because it was about comics, which seemed kind of close to baseball cards. And it was before I was a Conseco Super Collector, and but so I didn't really fully understand it back then, whereas now I do more so. But anyways, it's fun to kind of see how he was kind of fumbling around his words. And he's like, I don't want to sell any of this. And so they had the mediator come in, and it's like, really, you really need to sell some of these comic books and everything. And so the guy ends up taking like more than half of his collection. It was like 4,000 comics, I think, to a comic book shop. And he said, okay, to appease my fiance, what I'm going to do is I'm willing to sell my comic books that I brought you here. It's over half of them, and if you just give me $1 a book, then it'll be good. And so the guy looked at him, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. There's like great runs in here, but there's like nothing that's like really worth a lot of money. So the value is like in the runs themselves. And so he was pretty upset about that, and I think they offered him several $100s, but nothing anywhere near what he was wanting. He's like, oh, this is ridiculous. So the mediator calls the person back to the back of the store and says, hey, listen, what if he decides to trade you? What if he's got a key issue that's older and he trades you this one comic for all of the books that you have? And he's like, well, maybe I could do that, okay. And so he ends up going up there and pitching it to him. The dealer says, you know, I do have one I think that you might be interested in. And it was the Incredible Hulk number 181. Now, for those of you who are comic book lovers, you know the big deal for that, because that is a holy grail comic book. Everybody and their brother wants it. Why? Because it is the first appearance of Wolverine. And here it is. 7.0, beautiful colors. It is a great book. I've wanted this, guys, like forever. Ever since I even saw that episode, I was turned on to it because I go, man, first appearance of Wolverine, it's like the Wolverine rookie card, you know? Like, holy cow, that's awesome. And so I picked it up, and I'm super happy with it. I remember forgetting about it for quite a while, and then Atticus and me went over to the TriStar Baseball Card Show a couple months ago, I think, and there was a comic set up there. And so I went up to there, and I'm just, you know, sitting there looking at all the books they have for sale. It's the first time I'd seen comics in quite a while. I'm like, man, that's really cool. I love those. And I asked the dealer, I go, hey, by the way, there's this really hot comic. What was it? It was Hulk something, 282, 182, something like that. With Wolverine. Goes, yep, Hulk 181. Everybody wants it. It's a super hot book. It has gone up and up and up in price. And I remember a raw copy from the 2012 episode that I saw. The dealer said, yeah, this is $1,000 book. And that was raw. And he said it probably graded a 9.2 or something. And so I looked at the back of the copy that the guy showed me at the show, and the price tag was $3,500. And he said, yep, it is nothing but increase in value. And I don't know if the ceiling is on it yet or not. I mean, maybe there's more room to grow, but everybody really wants this book if they don't have it. And so I bought it right, and I was able to pull the trigger on. But man, it's my favorite. I love this book so much. So there it is one more time. And again, guys, how cool would that be if they made a movie, Wolverine versus Hulk? Oh man, that'd be so awesome. Anyways, so there it is. That's me kind of geeking out over something other than baseball cards for once. It is comic books. So thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.